time in the sun.
Okay.
Man, this month of February is just fine.
Yeah, I thought the same thing.
Yep.
Gosh.
Yeah.
Yep, it's going back quick.
Our age here.
Spring work will be here.
I know, and
How about
we are gonna love it. We're gonna
That's
love it.
right. That's right.
No problems getting that set up. No other, I mean, not problem, but when I opened Safari, OBS quit. But
Yeah, that's why. But
it seems to be working now. Yep, it's up there. Is the
how's that going?
This will be $8.
But we were right down here setting all the shops. Yeah.
yeah.
So they, I mean, they did, which is where they should be, 611. Well, that was all HBC.
So,
So one.
Well, I tell you, the fast weekend, of course, with working on Saturdays, oh, and then Sunday, we'll appreciate that, you know, we go back to the house.
Oh, were ya? Okay.
So, I tell you, I was kinda glad for Monday to
There you
come.
go, exactly. Slow down a little bit.
Oh, boy, but that happens.
we're just trying
It
to.
does.
He's kind of cute, so good. He's like,
Are you getting close?
I mean, we're getting closer, it just,
I don't know if
Takes a lot.
yes, it does, and I know, you know, I don't wanna push Mom, and so I've kinda let her control it, and I'll say that has not helped the situation. But I did, the first thing I said to her when we picked her up on Sunday, I said, Mom, I gotta ask you about a story that you've noticed. And so I told
Did she remember?
She said, oh yeah, I do that. I said, well, that's one thing. And she said, and she told me this story, she said, I don't know what we would have done without Dee Dee's stuff. There's an old family that still sits up there. It used to be her wash house. Well, Dad went out one morning to imagine doing this, turn the stove on to heat water to do the
Oh, wow.
laundry, and it caught fire, and who alerted them but Dean?
Is that right?
So Dean was like an
The
area
local fireman.
So I said, well, Mom, those are two stories I've never
Never
heard
heard.
before.
We are.
Uploaded the transaction onto that booklet that Katie just gave me.
But in fact, she even, when I mentioned,
I think I'll leave.
when I said the old time,
She
she
came out
said,
and got
oh
the
yeah,
I was like,
Carmen,
Katie, I know
Penny."
you.
Yeah,
No,
That's
let
all
me
I
show
said.
you. Let me show you.
Oh, we are.
She pulls out like DocuSign and Dotloop. She called the CEO of Digital Age.
Now, do you ever remember either of them?
I remember Granddaddy.
Okay.
He passed away when I was 6-ish, something
Okay.
like that.
Okay.
Just vaguely.
When she said those names, I did vaguely remember, you know, just hearing mention of the name.
Right.
Well, the transaction checklist is
Were they
also
mine?
very
Okay.
I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure I maybe do 3 of those 98 things per transaction, so.
You know, I
I'm
guess.
just looking.
I
You know,
guess now that I've got older, those stories.
Yeah, absolutely.
Care more about it.
I have a friend that was just there. They just,
Then I just won't do
guess they
anything. Yeah. I'll be the eye candy. I sent those pictures to my wife. And she said,
All right, good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Thank you for coming. Our Habitat project, I sent the email around, our work dates have been bumped yet again. I'm gonna try to go out there today and actually get a look at the site and see if anything has even started yet. But we're now set to be out there over a 4-day span, February 29th to the 4th of March. I still don't know if that means all 4 days. I don't think it does. What's on the work schedule is just spreading gravel in the crawl space, but I think that will also involve then, after that, putting down floor joists and subfloor. So, as soon as that date firms up, I will let you know. I appreciate the response. We have close to 40 people who have volunteered, which I think is just incredible. That's half our group, just about. And we got a lot of skills, so it should be fun. Organizing your Outlook contacts. Spencer wanted me to mention, a lot of you have been making appointments with him to get contacts from your phone into Outlook if you have things, or from Gmail or from iCloud or various different places. He has found an app that does that for you, and he's getting that, playing around with it, and making a couple videos on how to do that for various types of systems. So if that's something that's been on your mind, it's coming soon. Hopefully by the next meeting, we'll be able to show you that.
So I don't have to continue going through my Outlook and deleting the multiple.
Yeah, don't worry about duplicates and stuff, but if you're going through and categorizing,
Okay.
I would continue to do that. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, especially, he said apparently a lot of folks have various contacts in various different types of systems, and this app will scoop them all up, check for duplicates, and put them in Outlook. Yes. We still haven't made a decision. We looked at another a competing product last week. Some of the folks couldn't make that demo, so it was recorded and they're watching it on their own. We will probably make that decision by email this week among the committee, but one way or another. The demo was good. I don't think quite as user-friendly as the product we had been looking at. They initially told us the price, which was far below the product we had been considering, and then we asked, what about Teams? And the way they handle Teams makes it pretty equal in price, and then in the future it would end up being more expensive as we added more Teams. So the Synergy team is considering that, and we'll have a decision this week, I'm sure. Quick reminder, again, we mentioned this last time, but your Harrisonburg business license is coming up. We're more than halfway through February. It's due March the 1st. Let that slip by. So I came across an Inman article, and I'm trying to do better about bombarding you with copies. I'll email this to you after the meeting. And it was called 7 Facts About FHA Loans You Need to Know. And some of the things I didn't know I thought were interesting. Some of them I thought, is that really right? The article, and so I emailed Erin, and she was available and willing to come comment kind of on this. So I thought we'd just go through the author's 7 things and then just get Erin's ideas on each one of them. But it gave me a little pause to start, because they begin saying the Federal Housing Administration finances about 1 out of every 8 homes sold each year. And FHA doesn't finance. They insure the loan, but they don't actually finance, and that's a misconception that kind of worried me that they started out that way. So first one, and this is a bit of a bait and switch, I think, on the headline, but homeowners don't have to pay FHA mortgage insurance forever. True or false, Eric?
Depends on how much money you
Yeah.
put down.
Very good. If you put 10% down, you pay it for 11 years. If you put anything less than that, you pay it for the life of the loan. And you're right, when I read this, I was like, that's
Right.
not fair. It's bait and switch. They were saying,
Right.
you don't pay it forever if you can refinance
Right.
to a conventional.
Right, this person's, the author's reason for saying that is, yeah, you don't pay it forever because you don't keep it forever. Have your FHA loan for 5 years or so and then refinance into a conventional. Second one, you can qualify for an FHA mortgage only 2 years after bankruptcy and 3 years after foreclosure.
Hold on. These are, I gotta give these people my keys, hold on. Sorry. Yes, that's true.
That is true. So that's pretty generous.
Yes. And sometimes what I'll do is if I'm waiting the clock out, I'll put somebody in FHA and then say, hopefully rates will stay good enough that we'll come back in a couple years and refi to a conventional.
Mm-hmm.
But it just like, in order to get them into a home instead, I mean, it's better than paying rent.
Right? For sure. For sure. You can get an FHA mortgage with a much lower credit score than conventional. And they talk about all the way down to 500. What's realistic?
I mean, there are lenders out there that will broker that and do that, because the FHA does technically go down really that far, but we won't go any lower than 580, and I don't know anybody else that will.
Okay.
And even between 580 and 620, there's like a ton of extras, like they have to have compensating factors, lots of reserves,
Mm-hmm.
so it's not easy, those ones for sure.
FHA loans usually have lower interest rates than conventional loans.
True, except
True.
right now. they're kind of bouncing real close to each other, but there's still a little bit of a spread. Yeah, about a quarter point, half point.
Do you think that 1 out of 8 is what you see around here?
You know, I do a lot of VHDA loans, and the VHDA has a conventional option. So the reason why I like that is because they have a, very long story short, VHDA will allow you to do lower mortgage insurance on a conventional loan, the factor. So even if their credit score is a little bit lower, they still have a really good interest rate and a good PMI factor that
Uh-oh.
typically some lenders would just put them in FHA
Uh-huh.
and just be like, but I don't know, I would say that I don't do a lot of FHAs like I used to. In Augusta County I did, but
Mhm.
up here not so much.
Now, in Augusta County yesterday, we were doing a new agent class, and Karen was talking about a VHDA FHA that's kind of like a first and a second, but
Yeah.
it's together.
Yep.
What is that?
So that's the same thing that I do with conventional. So VHDA has, think of it as like VHDA is the parent company, and then underneath of them you have FHA, conventional, VA, RD, like all the loan programs. And then they offer a piggyback loan that will go with their conventional and FHA option, because VA is 100%, RD is 100%. So FHA, you can do a second lien for the down payment, 3.5%, or 3% for the conventional. You can get real technical here, we could do it, but you can technically borrow, depending on your credit score, if it's over 680, you can borrow up to 1.5% in closing costs.
Mm-hmm.
So you can actually do a 101.5.
Right.
I have a deal right now like that. He's 80 years old, and he
my
wants to
God.
buy.
Wow.
Cannot discriminate, okay? So,
Good for him.
he's buying his home, and this is a decision him and his family thought was best for him. Yeah, and we're doing the FHA, VHDA, and he's doing the 1.5%, because he's like, I'll never pay it off, I don't care.
Oh my God, that's funny.
Let me borrow as much as I can. I was like,
Right.
So yeah, it's a really good program. A lot of people, you do have to be a first-time home buyer for the second option, but you don't have to be a first-time home buyer for VHDA in general.
So if you're a first-time home buyer with strong credit, but no cash,
Correct.
that's a good program.
And even, and then just to that point with credit, FHA, that you can go down to 620 on that piggyback. You just can't borrow the extra for closing. So yeah, I do
Okay.
a lot of
So,
those.
yeah, lots of possibilities. FHA is kind to debt limits, but tough on deferred student loan debt.
I get this a lot. Student loan debt used to be like, oh, you know, it's deferred, we don't count it, but we do. FHA got strict and we have to hit 1%. So think about it, I've got people at minimum 30, 40, 50,000 in school loan debt, that's a $300, $400, $500 payment. So if you have $100,000 in school debt, I have to hit you with $1,000 payment. Well, that's kills it typically with the debt ratio.
Mm-hmm.
Conventional, just while I'm on the topic, conventional used to do the same factor, but then they're now allowing income-based repayment to be part of the qualifying. So if you can prove it's income-based and it is a zero payment, they'll let you not use a payment in the income calculation.
Can you say that again?
Yeah, so if you have income-based repayment, a lot of people do their school loans and do that. And when they do that, sometimes it results in a $0 payment. If you can provide documentation from the servicer that it truly is income-based at zero, then the Fannie will allow you to use that and not calculate a payment.
Okay.
If not, then you're using the 1% rule or fully amortized payments. If you use 1% and that's the greater of or whatever, you can do that. Or sometimes I've had to prove that if they are in repayment, then you get the actual amortized payment. If that's less than 1%, you can use that.
Mm-hmm.
Servicers are not fun to work with.
Yeah. That's a big deal. If you have a good credit score, you'll pay more for FHA mortgage insurance than PMI.
Typically, yes. When I was talking about the factor, so FHA says their mortgage insurance factor is 0.85. And if you have a credit score of about 720 or more, that factor is probably less than 0.41. So it's almost double the monthly MI. So if you do have typically over 720, you want to look at conventional.
All right. Any questions for Erin while we have her?
Yes.
So does FHA do condos now?
They do, but it has to be approved, the entire project. And then we had an article recently about how they'll do spot approvals just based on the individual unit. So I have not ran into that, and I have not researched it much because we're not a condo heavy market. But apparently they are doing what I call individual unit approvals versus projects.
So if you have a condo that has not, where the entire neighborhood is not approved,
Right.
they will possibly do it on an individual basis?
Yeah, do you remember that article? It was how many weeks ago? Was anybody else?
I don't remember that.
Kind of remember that. And I researched it as quick as I could because it was like this. You're like, hey, come. So, but I can do a little bit more digging into our condo department. We have a really huge condo department. We actually funded $1 billion, so we have a really good department. I'll just ask them.
Because I sold a unit years ago on Millwood Loop, and they weren't able to get FHA financing and had to go conventional or whatever it was. And of course now they can't resell it, and they've been renting it for years. And so I've always tried to keep my ears open for possibilities of getting it back on the market for them maybe.
And I think they're developing condos over there on Boyers, one of those developments on the east end of Boyers. I think it's a condominiums.
But they're not gonna be, that's Randy Cosner, and he's gonna run them.
He's gonna rent them? Okay.
Any other questions? All right. Thanks, Erin. School districts. I sent out an email about this. I don't think there is a new map yet, but this has a huge effect on our MLS, on disclosures, on your buyers that are looking in these areas. So I just wanted to revisit it as a reminder. Have the mainly because of just making sure there's something in any of your listings that are affected by this. The MLS committee is meeting this week, and this is on the agenda. I don't know whether or not there will be an official rule about how we're supposed to handle this, or a convention, so that I think that's the goal of the committee, is to come up with something that we can broadcast to everybody so that every firm handles it the same way. We all know where to look for the right information. I would love to hear suggestions from you guys, because I'm not searching every day. So what would be the best way to make sure buyers have clear information about the changes upcoming?
Well, one thing I've always said is, to any buyer is, it never hurts, even years ago, double check. If the school district is what you, is very important to you, then it wouldn't hurt for you to double check,
Mm-hmm.
go straight to the source.
Absolutely, yeah. So, it's not us telling them.
Right.
Right. But as far as the MLS goes, we've got changes coming up, both sides of the county and the east, big changes, with a lot of folks who would have gone to Montevideo Middle and then Spotswood High School now will be going to Elkton and East Rock. On the western part of the county, there's kind of scattered changes here and there. And then still the possibility of Linville Eden being closed altogether. That decision hasn't been made for sure, but I saw something online, I think just last week, where they dug up the septic field and 1 out of the 14 lines was functional. So it doesn't sound good for that school, as sad as that is for that community. So that's going to be a big change for folks out there. Yeah.
So the county has that tool where you can type in the address and the age or whatever
Mhm.
of the child, and it'll spit out the schools. Is there any possible way that the MLS could integrate that so that it auto-populates according to the address that you enter? Are they open source to where they could potentially take that out of our hands?
But is it updated? I mean, if you
Well, I see
punched in
that.
a date today, if you punched in an address today, it's gonna populate on what's going on today.
Right.
That's what's gonna happen in
Well, then we're
2021.
not, then it's public data, right?
Mhm.
It's,
Mhm.
it can't come back on us.
Come back on
that,
us,
hey, we
right.
put the wrong one in there
Right.
because we're using a public data.
Right.
Maybe completely
Yeah.
unrealistic idea to try, but I don't know enough about Paragon and how they're able to integrate and pull data.
Right.
You know, they pull tax data, so would there be any way, tax record stuff,
Right.
would there be any way for them to pull something like
It's
that?
a good idea. I don't know. But that would be a nice way. Yeah. I mean, to make
The
sure
information exists.
the current stuff is accurate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I assume the county will update that when the changes are official.
Sure.
I don't know, just a thought.
Sure. Yeah. We'll ask tomorrow.
A few years ago, when the city did some redistricting, they had put out a list by address, I think, and showed the new school.
Mhm.
I don't know if the county's planning on doing something like that or not, but that was extremely helpful during that time.
Yeah. I'm assuming they're going to update their map. The current map is.
But they actually
hasn't been
put the
changed in a
list,
long
you could
time.
go and look at the address and tell, and show which school they'd be going
I
to.
don't know.
That was the city, I don't know.
Yeah.
but,
Yeah. So.
When's the new high school gonna be done, the Harrisonburg City?
Anybody know that date?
2021.
22? 21?
Just curious.
Yeah. That'll be another.
Right, same thing again.
Same
Oh,
thing.
yeah.
Yeah. But this involves so many
Yes.
different
It's
schools. And, these are easy to know. If you have to put a comment in there that it's gonna change in a year, these, are much more difficult. I think we really need to see a new map where those new lines are to know which of those addresses is getting moved and which
We
aren't.
put a blanket statement in agent remarks that, kinda like I do floodplain. Hey, current owner doesn't pay flood insurance, but please do your own due diligence on,
Mm-hmm.
can we do something like that?
Mhm.
Because that's a lot of responsibility.
I've
Mhm.
actually seen some listings that have that comment to that
I
effect
think
in
if
it.
it's local people who are moving to stay within a school district, they're gonna know all of that stuff, but.
Probably so. Yeah. But I think we should, for now, at least be putting in agent remarks, maybe subject to school redistricting. Please check with Rockingham County or something like that if you think you have a listing that's in any of these areas. And then like Debbie said, if you have buyers and it's really important to them, have them go down to the county or call them and say, here's the address. Am I going to be affected by this redistricting? If so, how and when? They put some grandfathering in now so that the only kids who are moving are kids who would have graduated to a new school anyway. They'll just be going to a different new school. So it's going to have kind of a rolling impact depending on your buyer's situations. And if any of you, because of your communities or families or whatever, gets some good information, please share, especially on these. I'm not quite sure how we know which until we get on that, how we know where those houses are that are gonna get moved. We talked about this before, but I get a lot of questions on it, so I wanted to bring it up again. In Massanutten, and I'll just quickly go back, about 6 months ago, Great Eastern, who has always paid the Property Owners Association about $300,000 a year for their share of the use of the roads and police force, sent a letter to the board of directors and say, hey, we're not doing that anymore. Thanks. And that was it. So a battle kind of ensued. I think some of us realized that that was just the first round of negotiation. These are private roads. If they really said they're not paying anything, then the police could keep all the guests out, and that would certainly not serve them very well. So they just wanted to reduce what they were paying, I guess, and decided to play hardball. So they are negotiating right now. They haven't come to a decision, but in the meantime, for this year's budget, there was that big gaping hole. So fees have gone up to $825.
That's effective now.
That's effective now. They're due March 1st. Yeah. There were $550, I think, last year. That started a movement among some folks up there, the same core folks that started the no short-term rentals fight, to make Massanutten into a town. And we could elect our own mayor. We could change our zoning and not allow short-term rentals, which was one of their baseline things. And we wouldn't, they're accusing the board of financial mismanagement, which isn't at all true. And they got a petition going, and they got over 900 signatures. So then they took it to Tony Wilk and said, hey, a bunch of us voted for you, and we'd like to do this, and here's why. And there's a way you can do it judicially, and there's a way you could do it legislatively. And they were asking Tony Wilk in this current session to submit a bill that would make Massanutten a town. And he declined and sent a really nice, well laid out letter saying, I don't think this is the best move for you guys, and here's why. The county is currently negotiating with Great Eastern and MPOA to do the following. Put a sheriff's substation in Massanutten with 5 deputies. Take over your water and sewer. Conversations are going on with VDOT about taking over the roads. So these are all, water and sewer isn't part of MPOA. We all, homeowners pay that, and we pay way too much for really, really crappy service. But the roads and the police are the biggest part of our budget. And so if the county, you know, all the Massanutten homeowners pay property taxes just like everybody else. So they would, you know, they're entitled to sheriffs, and the roads are a different thing because some of them, the grade and things like that aren't to current VDOT standards. The wooden guardrails that they have aren't to current VDOT standards. So I think there would have to be a lot of either exceptions made or upgrading, or I'm not sure what's going to happen there. But the bottom line is the problems that caused that are being negotiated away now. So I don't think there's any need to move to become a town. Our very own Basil has kind of become the leader of the anti-town movement and has done a really good job. He's been on TV, he's been interviewed by the newspaper. He sends out regular emails and has not lost his temper. So it's been really done a nice job. So I don't know if fees will go down. I would like to say that they would. There are not many situations in life where something is actually reduced once they start getting it from you every year. But that would be nice if some of these other things come into play and take some of the burden off the budget. But that's what's going on now. I still think, you all know I've lived there for 25 years. I still think $825 is the best deal going. When you see other property owners associations paying $35 or $40 a month for a swing set and getting snow removed twice a year, and that adds up. You don't think about, you know, it's monthly, but you're paying $500 a year for that. And here, you got all, you know, right now at least that's private roads, private police. They have partially gotten rid of the gate attendants. So if you go into Massanutten now during the day, the lane closest to the guardhouse is closed, and you go in what was the owner's lane. Overnight, they have the gate attendants there, and you're forced to go into that lane. So, not sure what'll happen there, or if we'd still have a gate if and when we have a sheriff's substation out there, or not, or how that would work.
Is the police force still operating, or did they?
Yes,
It
yeah,
is?
police force is still there.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, they really, I mean, the sheriffs would have to come if they just disappeared, just because of, there's 1,500 homes and, a few thousand guests a week, so, they need, I guess, for response time, somebody needs to be on site.
I just wonder why these people who wanna do away with short-term rentals, why they don't understand that their property values will go like this
For sure.
if that ever happens.
And they're living in a resort area.
I know.
Right. And it's largely, the guy that's leading this, I don't wanna get on a soapbox, but this is the guy that's led anytime there's been disruption at Massanutten in the last 30 years, this is the guy, Gene Hawes, who has been leading it. When he led the fight for no short-term rentals, he didn't even live in Massanutten. He just has some axe to grind with Great Eastern, and he has been a thorn in their side as much as he possibly can for 20 years. He's a really smart guy. I don't think he works.
Get that man a real
So
job.
he just sits and writes letters and emails all day long. And yeah, it's that same crowd, and I think they see this as a chance to kind of take control of the community, which they've been trying to do forever. So that's what's going on. Property values haven't been changed. Last year, Massanutten prices went up over 10%. I think that was more due to the mix of homes, some very expensive homes sold, but it hasn't seemed to hurt anything so far. And I think if those services do come in, I think it'll help, especially utilities. Utilities are ridiculous now, and causing the problems with the roads because there are so many leaks that every road up there is constantly being opened up to fix the leaks, and then it's filled with gravel for a month or so till it compacts down, and then they come and put a little patch of asphalt on it. But it's a real problem. So I think a good solution's coming. Any questions about that? Have you had buyers, or are your buyers even aware of this, or is this just really among Massanutten folks? You've had folks mention it?
Well, my buyer, she sold her house in Grottoes, that development, John Bowman.
Shady
Yes.
Creek.
Because they went up from like $500 to over $1,000, and they don't get anything.
What do they get there?
Well, yeah,
They don't get anything.
It's $1,000 at Shady?
Yes.
I did not know that.
Yes. And
Wow.
Is there
it's
Oh, there's nothing there.
shared space, or is
No.
part of the utilities wrapped into it,
No,
like Preston Lake?
I did not. I
No.
did not know that.
So she was very wary about this whole situation in Massanutten, but she still wanted to be there, and she has faith that that it's not going to go up because $550 that was forever their fee. It seems like to me.
Yeah, it's they kind of tried to go up moderate. Every 2 or 3 years they'd go up $25 or something, so that they never had to hit us with a really big one all at once. But still, I mean, I think from the time when we first moved there in '89, it was $325. So from '89 until last year, it went from $325 to $550, which is a great deal. Yeah.
Yeah.
It really is. So, all right, we'll finish up with this. This is just a short video. Again, this came up in one of our new agent classes, and these guys have a video on it, so I thought I would share. Okay. I think the live streaming thing is messing that up. I'll have to consult with my technical folks. We'll do that next week. We'll just end a little bit quicker today. HRAR stuff coming up. We've got our first fundraiser of the year, always my favorite one. The chili cook-off. We have moved it from a lunchtime thing to a late afternoon thing in the hopes of selling more beer. Because that's a high margin item. We can raise a lot of money buying beer at Costco and then selling it for
Did
$4
we have
a
beer
bottle.
last year?
We had beer last year. We only sold about 20 because people didn't want to go back to their offices after having a couple of beers.
I don't even remember we had beer.
So that's why we moved it to the afternoon. So mark that afternoon out as kind of a happy hour to come have some chili and enjoy a beer to wash that down.
Or two.
Or two, not more than that. Remember, we vote and we raise money by voting with our dollars. So whichever of the chilies that you sample that you like the best, put some dollars in their collection bucket, and we're raising. Hopefully, we'll end up with $1,000 or $1,200 or so. Our charity this year is Mission Central. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Mission Central. They are over on Old Furnace Road, right before we get to Buffalo Drive. It actually started in the little church I go to in McGaheysville a long time ago and outgrew it. And just, it's basically a clothes closet. It gives free clothes for kids and free medical supplies. So if somebody you know is in need of a walker or something, they've just had hip surgery or something, you can go there and
Wow.
get it for free. And it's grown now to be a multi-church, pretty large organization that collects and disperses clothes, mostly for kids, and medical supplies. So, yeah, so join us for that. That's going to be a lot of fun. Anybody competing? We have some former winners in the room. Nobody? You're going to make chili? All right.
Oh, yeah.
Doing something different from last year?
No. I don't know, I haven't thought yet, but I'll figure it out.
It's really funny. I mean, among some of the competitive people, they take note of what everybody's doing, and they'll say, well, a sweet chili won last year, so I'm going a little sweet,
Yeah, I
or a
think
really
it's
spicy one, or the guy put
Yeah.
cinnamon in his last year and he won, so I'm doing something a little funky
Yeah.
with mine. So yeah, if you want to make some chili and compete, I think there are 15 spots. I don't know how many are taken right now, but fun event. It's at the Preston Lake Clubhouse. There's a new CentralLock app coming next week. Should be, yeah, it'll be next Tuesday, so maybe we can talk about it next week. The HRAR newsletter had a quick preview of it, but we'll see what we get. Any other HRAR news, Mr. President?
No, nothing. I was gonna say chili cook-off, but you covered that.
Chili cook-off, yeah. Yeah, I think last year, weren't you two the designated beer procurers?
Brant and I generally get that responsibility.
Okay, so that'll be yours again, and we're hoping to
I'm
bump
not
up the
sure what
volume.
that means.
We
Yeah.
have our talents. We recognize what they are.
Any listings anybody wants to talk about?
I have a new one actually.
All right.
Believe it or not. 540 Fremont. I love this address. I can remember that. 540. It's yeah. So I don't know if you all remember back about 2006, 2007. Trimble Heights was a brand new neighborhood in Broadway, and it's a 55 and older community, and there was great plans for clubhouses and et cetera, et cetera. About 2008 or so, the developer lost everything, and so there's only 4 units there. These people, I sold it to them in 2007, and they upgraded everything you could possibly upgrade. The tile floors are all heated. There's granite countertops, there's chair railing, there's crown molding, there's high ceilings. It's just a well kept unit. It looks brand new. Shows very nicely. It's fairly easy to show. But yeah, it's just a great unit, and I've been told that the rest of the community is under contract with a study period as to where
Okay.
there's a new developer who may be building it out with clubhouse and etc. That's not for sure. I've put it in the MLS that it's a possibility, but you could be just buying a nice duplex with country views. So just be open to that if you show it. But it's a great unit. The bathroom is accessible as a nice just step-in shower, dual vanities. And it seriously looks brand new. It looks just like it did in 2007. Walk-in closets, plenty of closets, lots of like little storage closets.
The storage in those units
Yeah,
was incredible.
yeah, and it's a double car garage. So it's lovely. I actually ended up selling 2 of those 4 units that are out there.
Yeah, that, they wanted to make it a 45 and over community.
Mhm.
And nobody could figure out if they wanted to live in what that was.
Right.
45?
Yeah.
Well, the
45.
sellers are still telling me that you can be 45 and live there. I've not seen anything like that in the covenants and restrictions. Everything says 55 and older.
Oh, really?
Kathy C told me that it does allow like for up to like 25% to be 45.
Mhm.
It does say 55 and older, but then it says owners may be 45 and older. So I don't know if that means.
I remember when they started this, the
If that
developer
means
thought
if
this
you're-
was gonna be a really cool thing.
So if it means that you can buy at 45,
Yeah.
but you can't live there, I'm not real sure what that means. I'm gonna
Yeah.
have to get further clarification if there's someone,
Well, if
interested
somebody
at that age.
buys it, they'll own the majority of the lots and they can change it to anything they want. They should make it more clear,
Yeah,
whatever,
well, Kathy
whatever
has,
they want it to be.
whoever has it under contract right now intends to leave at 55 and older.
Okay.
Is what I've been told. Again, all of that is subject to change. If that falls through, who knows? But it's a great
Cool.
unit, very
That's great.
easy to show. They did everything we told them to do. I mean, they had, it was nice, but it was just really cluttered, and they moved everything out and were super helpful, and it looks great.
Okay. Anybody else?
417 Todd.
Thought that was under contract.
That's what I wanted to talk about.
Oh dear, it's gorgeous.
This
Yeah,
house
under
is
contract right away.
awesome. Architect client of mine that I've worked with, and you just have to go through to the kitchen and you can stop,
Oh,
Carl.
I want to move just because of the kitchen.
So she bought this, I think it's 200 plus year old house, put this amazing new kitchen in it, planned to stay there. Her life situation changed, so now she needs to sell it. We had it under contract in 2 days, and apparently at one of the local banks, they don't check credit scores before they issue pre-qualification letters. So we lost it in 3 days, in 4 days. We gave them some more time to try to get other financing. They went to everybody in the world, and they can't finance their way out of a wet paper bag.
Wow.
So
Wow.
it's back on the market, and you don't have to go through all the pictures because there's dozens, but it's an amazing house on
Yeah.
15 acres. It's quirky because it's like 1780s
Oh,
construction.
it's beautiful.
But there's been additions, obviously. It's got a big pole barn and a big bank barn that she did a bunch of structural and stonework to. Just an awesome, awesome place. We're putting in a new 4-bedroom septic system, conventional septic system. It's turnkey. It's got a little Airbnb guest house on it. Anyway, I just want everybody to know it's back
Yeah.
on the market, not due to any reason other than a really poor bank not doing their job.
Are you going to
Wow.
share that with us? Or maybe you'll share it with me privately?
I'm happy to. Am I allowed
Yeah,
to?
of course, if
Yeah, so
anything,
Pendleton
as long as it's
Community
true.
Who
What?
I've dealt with, it was the ag department. I've dealt with them a lot of
Oh.
times, and they're awesome. And Aaron, maybe you can tell me. This guy's, so I called the lender because I was hot.
Yeah.
And I said, what is the point of this pre-qualification letter if
Right.
you didn't pull credit? And he said, we can't pull credit until we have a contract, an open
What?
file. And I said, what are you talking about? I've never heard that in my life.
Mm-mm.
So maybe I don't know. We went-
I actually talked to that buyer.
Did you really?
Yeah, because it
So
word
tell
got
me-
around quick. Everybody, she was trying to find financing anywhere.
Had they come to you first, there's no way you would have pre-qualified, right? You would have done enough research to say this is
Yeah,
gonna work.
but I wanted to know her experience because I was like, tell me what happened. And that's it. I was like, you weren't talking to anybody on secondary. You were talking to some in-house, like, she's like, oh yeah, we were going to put poultry plant or farm, whatever, houses on there and all this stuff. And like, anyway, something about the down payment. They're like, oh yeah, they're going to take a blanket loan against my mother-in-law's house. Like, it was just all this crazy stuff. And I was like, what? And so I just couldn't make sense of it. And so I guess then they don't pull credit. I don't know.
So did this happen because it was through the ag department and not
That's
through
what I-
their
Well, we went all
residential?
the way to the president of the bank trying to get answers and trying to make them do what they said they were going to do, and he said, you can't. So I don't have a solid answer, but just know that if you get a pre-qual from Pendleton, check it. Check with somebody.
Well, I mean, for a pre-qual, you know, she may, they may have just been conversational. The guy said, is your credit okay? Oh yeah, credit's great. You know, the
Yeah, but
pre-qual
that's
just
not-
basically says, if what you told me was true, yeah, we'd give you the loan.
You're
Yeah.
exactly right. That's
Yeah.
the technical reason, and that scares. I don't operate business like that. I don't really know banks that really do that.
Mhm.
But technically, legally, you can do it based on a verbal conversation of pre-qual.
Mhm.
But movement, equal credit.
He
But
said
I
they
think
can't.
Maria Marie, it was the ag department. I don't think it was. The loan officer there that does the secondary, I think, is it a female?
Yes.
Yeah, she's good. I mean, I've
Cindy.
not heard bad things about.
Cindy
her.
Ray.
Oh, Cindy?
Yeah,
Okay,
Cindy, yeah. I don't believe it was.
Well, and
her.
Jeremy said, I mean, he's dealt with these same folks, and they've been great before. I just wonder if she lied to him.
Yeah, I don't know. He said, well, I probably should have had him pull up, Credit Karma or whatever and show me their credit score. Like, what in what world are you operating? So,
Yeah.
anyway, be wary.
Okay.
I wanna say it's an indictment on Pendleton because I've had good experiences there, but this particular experience was
That's weird.
like the Twilight Zone.
Mm.
Anyway, please know it's available. It's an amazing house. Go show it.
Yes,
It's
beautiful.
very, very easy to show and unbelievable.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
So Lorinda sent you an email with some pictures. That's where she is right now. Her listing is not in the MLS yet.
Okay.
228 Walnut Drive in Timberville, 3 bedrooms, 1.5 baths, completely updated new roof, new siding and shutters, new kitchen with stainless steel appliances, bathrooms completely remodeled, new flooring throughout, large back deck, 16 by 16, fenced backyard, storage building, 4-car driveway, 180,000.
Goodness. Sounds good.
Yeah, for everything that's been done.
Is it a single family? Or is
Is that what-
Pictures are kind of embedded and sideways, so I don't know if I'm not good enough on this thing to make those viewable for
pretend
you.
you're eating a taco.
We can just.
Yeah.
You do that very well, Emery.
No, you seen those commercials like
Yeah.
years ago?
Yeah.
It looks
That
nice.
makes me
doesn't
All right.
it?
It's nice from the side.
Can you give us the basics again? Where is it?
Oh,
and
yeah,
What's the
sure.
price?
It's in Timberville,
Okay.
228 Walnut Drive, 180,000. Basically completely remodeled and updated. 1,550 square feet.
Wow, for 180.
How much land? You said?
She didn't give me that.
Those are on, most of those are on pretty much quarter,
Quarter.
third.
Right.
Good price. Anybody else?
Nice.
Oh, and she
Oh.
said, sorry, it'll be on MLS Wednesday. She's gonna open it to the scheduled showings for climate agents Wednesday at 9 a.m.
No,
Sorry.
that's sweet of her giving us
Sorry. Sorry about that.
the privilege.
Last call? All right. Have a great day.
Yes.
Cheryl, what was the house number?
Scrap paper, I think it was
And they,
Oh, thanks.
and there's no guarantee that
That's the company that used to have our
What? Okay, start over.